Folks, I wanted to do something a little bit different today and kind of talk about my process for endgame, do some advanced talks about formations and equipment that I'll be reviewing. So far I've done a lot of beginner videos where we talk about uh, different types of heroes, different types of formations that we'll be fighting. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about the behavior of the heroes that I'm using, that you may be using as well, how that interacts with your other heroes, and how you want to create a formation that will kind of be useful in all different ways. And especially what we'll be talking about is raids and how to put your best foot forward when creating a composition, and both how that reacts to the AI of the opponents and how your AI performs in forming. So when we talk about creating a formation, the same as in Journey Inline as with a lot of online games where you want to put your tanks in the front and your weaker heroes kind of in the back. Now, the way that works with some opponents is when you're fighting, for example, the elemental enemies, they're going to be focusing entirely on your heroes with the lowest resist. So you want to have your backline have the highest resist to incentivize the enemy into attacking your front line, where you'll have the most HP, and still have your formation ready to heal those front lines. And what we're also going to talk about a little bit is the different abilities of our healers and how that's going to affect our formation as well. So usually we would start with putting the tanks first. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple tanks in the front row here. And then next we're going to want to look at our healers and where we place them. Healers you're going to want to put on the back line, as they're going to be pretty influential in our survival. We'll want to keep them up as long as possible. So again, when I mentioned that the enemy is going to be going for the lowest resist, the enemy snipers such as archer or cannoneer, when that gets implemented in enemy formations, are going to be going for your lower lower defense, and they're able to snipe your backline too. So you're going to want both a lot of resist and a lot of defense on your healers, and you're really going to have to stack that up because they don't come with the kind of talent pool that is inherent for those. So I'm just going to go with that one healer for now, as both my tanks actually heal as well. And so we're going to get into the attack DPS next. So with this formation, I'm actually going to do some sniping for attack, and I'm going to do a little bit of sniping for AP. So the elementalist can attack the backline, and the archer and cannoneer can both attack the backline as well. So we're going to go for those squishier targets with our attack and focus on those low defense heroes on the backline. Now for attacking the enemy front line, we're going to go with AP because those usually have the lower defense. Lower resist. So I'm going to go ahead and put Vampire there. And let's see here. I'm going to go with... Now the neat thing about, let's take a look real quick here at our gnomes. The gnomes have debuffs, which would be reduce target AP, and I'm also going to go with reduce target attack, which is green. So we're going to kind of handicap the enemy offenses as we go through here as well. You'll notice my formation power at this point, 733. I have everything unequipped. So we're going to go ahead and walk through that equipment now as well. Now, in this formation, you'll see we've got the yellow on the left, the yellow heroes being the champion, the monk, and the cannoneer. And then we have the green kind of up front, and we have the red and blue in the back left. With that yellow line being there, I have on my healer a vertical heal, 3-point vertical heal with a high modifier. At the moment, healing is a little bit wonky. It's probably going to change in the next patch or two, where instead of healing your same color a little bit more, we actually heal our weak color more. So red is stronger than yellow, so red is going to heal yellow better. So I have this vertical line here, and we're actually going to be a little bit tricky, and we are going to put our lowest defense on our yellow hero up front. So that gunners, spearmen, the female swordsman, and all the attack heroes we want to be, or enemy attack heroes we want to be focusing on our yellow champion up front. So we're going to kind of focus on HP so that he can be healed a lot, and we're going to want to put a lot of defense on our monk and cannoneer as well. So our largest defense focus is actually going to be on monk, cannoneer, our green divine champion in front, and our green vampire up front as well. That'll focus the enemy attack towards the yellow divine champion up front for frontline, and the attack will actually probably be focusing for snipers on our 4 heroes on the back left. So we're going to want some more HP there as well. So let's get into the equipment. We're going to focus just on the ones that have the formation icon here up front. We're going to start with our front line because we want to manipulate that defense a little bit. So we have this defense talent. If I had the premium, I would actually probably respec him to attack so that I could get more bang for my buck out of changing this around, and I probably will when I get those tickets in there. Let's see here. So we're going to want reasonably low defense on him, so let's start with getting our highest defense on our vampire, because we want the least incentive to be going through. Now you'll notice I actually have her respec to get some a little bit more defense out of her and still keep some AP. So we're going to want to find a staff that has high defense. Here we have 23 there, 12, 13. All right, so it looks like this 23 defense staff is going to be the one we're going to go with. If I can find it. There we go. We're going to tap that on there. Now, I had a really interesting loot drop the other day, which is a helm. So this has 34 defense, which is really, really high defense. However, it has the secondary stat of 23 ability power, which is actually decent for a ring. And it has some resist on there as well. So I'm going to slap this on her, and we're already up to 60 defense. Now we're going to find some rings with some high defense secondary stats. There's 17 there. That's really good. We've got some nice resist rings. Resist. Resist. So is it just that one ring I have that has defense? Let's go ahead and slap that on to start. There's 9 defense there, 8 defense, 17 defense. So that's really good for a ring. We're going to go ahead and put that on. What else have we got? This one is actually probably going to augment defense. This one's really going to augment defense. So we'll go ahead and put this on. This says 9 to start. So I'll want to augment that when I get a chance. All right, and then we're going to want a defensive offhand. 26 AP, lots of, yeah, it's great right there. Smack that guy on there. And for the chest, we're going to want to focus on defense with ability power if I have some right here. Here we go, 17 defense, perfect. So a little bit of ability power in there. You can see our AP is already over 200. Look at this, 23 defense, 5 AP, perfect. We've got 168 defense. I really want to shoot for 200, so let's go ahead and do this. Okay, 194, so we have to keep in mind 194 defense. Let's go ahead and slap a alpha aura on her, why not? I have to track down my third alpha aura. There it is. We're going to have our front lines have the alpha aura for fun. Those are just purely cosmetic. Okay, so now we're going to move forward to our other tank. Let's go ahead and give our other tank the lowest defense. But we still want him to have high defense. We have to have lower than 198. So we're going to want to focus on attack power for the secondary so that he has some purpose to him. Here we go, 14 attack power, wonderful. We have AP on that belt. Attack power. Attack power and ability power, why not? Some resist on there as well. We don't really need to go for energy regen on these guys. We actually want them to attack only every 6 turns or so for their ultimate. Attack power, 48 defense. Yeah, that's perfect. Lots of resist there too. Okay, so now we're at 188. So we really don't want to move his defense any higher. So we're going to find some of these that don't have any defense on them, which may prove difficult. These are actually, the ones up top here are the legacy chests that I have augmented. There's 8 defense. Here we go. This has no defense, high HP, high attack power. Perfect. No defense, attack power. You can see our defense staying at the 188 down there. High resist, high HP. Love it. Okay, so now our yellow tank has a little bit less defense, has around 1000 HP, has a little bit of resist, has a little bit of attack. Cool. Our energy regen is good enough. Now I'm going to want to find one of these that has no attack on it, or no defense on it, sorry. But let's try to find some resist. Gosh. Okay, so that's pretty good right there. Let's go ahead and slap that on. I want to augment that up a little bit more. We have got the energy, regen, the resist, the AP, and our attack is over 100 now, which is good because our primary skill has a good attack modifier on it. And this has a decent attack modifier too, so we're going to be going for... These guys are basically just going to be casting, when on manual, their heal. Okay, now we have 2 geared up. I know this is going to be a longer video. Again, this is an advanced strategy, so if you're a newer player going through this, it's kind of fun to see what the end game looks like, but we're really taking a look at getting into progressing through these raids. Okay, so we're going to want the highest defense on this hero, which is going to decentivize the enemies from attacking this hero the most. Now, our second advantage on stacking up defense on this guy as high as we possibly can is that it's going to boost his heal also, because that scales with defense. We have 33 defense there. That's great. Let's get a high offhand defense. There's 51 with a lot of attack power. Holy cow. I know where I'm going to put that. Okay. Let's see our belts. 27 attack or health and resist. That's great. Let's put that on there. 26 energy, resist, health. Wonderful. We're going to want... I have a sword somewhere that has a lot of defense on it. Where'd that go? Here we go. Health, energy, regen, defense. 22 defense. Offhands. Health, energy, regen. I like that. Let's put that on there. So you can see we're up to 235 defense now, which is a lot higher than what we were putting on our other tanks. And that will really turn them off attacking this. Here we go. That's really well-rounded for this hero. 22 defense. Slap that right on there. I'm just going to go through. You'll see me locking some of these just because I'd forgotten to as I was going through. I don't often go through and mess with these too much. And let's throw that other alpha aura on them. Make our front line look pretty. So our final stats, 315 defense. Now, as we're looking through, I do have a single skill level on this. So we are up to a 40% defensive primary modifier on our heal, which heals the entire team. So we're looking at approximately 150 per heal. And if we get a defense buff on this guy before we heal, then that increases the effectiveness again by another 50%, bringing us around 230 health points healed to every person in our team, which is wonderful. Sip of coffee. Okay, so now we're going to take a look. We have our formation around 2320 now as we have our front line geared out. Let's take a look at our left line. So we're going to be wanting some defense on the gnome and the cannoneer as we go ahead and get their offense as high as we can also. That gnome has a super hard hitting first ability at 145% AP, second ability at 205 for kind of a nuke. And again, these are handicapping the enemies as well, and 105 for a 3 spot. So we are going to want defense with AP. So let's start with the offhand. I should look at defense and not resist. We're going to want AP. Do I have anything for AP? Look at this. Wonderful. Some regen, some health points. Beautiful. Defense. This happens once in a while. Okay, it's just a little bit of lag. Defense preferred. Defense. Defense. A little bit there. Let's go ahead and smack that on there. We're going to want a wand with a little bit of defense. I remember seeing... Oh, perfect. There we go. Okay, so once in a while we're going to see this axe pop up in the upper right. We're going to do that. It is actually equipped. It'll show up when we do our next one. We're going to want defense with AP, secondary, a little bit of resist too to kind of desensitize that sniping for our line. And we're going to look again for defense AP on our chest. Defense AP, lots of health on that one. Defense attack. That one's going to be for our cannoneer. Okay, that's good. We got some resist. High AP. Actually, I'm going to save that for my healer. What do we got down here? All right, I'm not seeing any defense AP. We'll go ahead and smack this guy on. We're going to put power push on our gnomes. Okay, so our final stats, we're looking at 217 AP, which is respectable, around 100. Defense, which is going to be bringing that damage down a lot. We have 81 resist, which is also going to be negating a lot of that damage, and a 700 HP pool, which is really great too. So next up is our cannoneer. Cannoneer, I kind of build glass cannon. Really put the high attack and high ability on there. Try to get both of those as high as possible because it is a hybrid character. I have some of these that have attack and defense, or I'm sorry, attack and ability power, which I'm going to want to focus on. Attack, defense, attack, ability power. Just try to get both of those up as much as possible. I do have the cannoneer built for attack as much as possible because we're seeing some of the attack mechanics are going to be changing in the next patch, but it's very primary attack focused for this hero at the moment in this meta. Let's go ahead and throw that on there too. So next we're going to be looking at the main hand runes. We're going to want attack with a secondary of AP. I know I have a few of these really good ones up top. There's 8 AP, 15 AP, and 13 AP, 19 AP. Wonderful. And we're going to want this right here, has ability power and attack and regen. So we're looking at around 50 regen, which is pretty decent. We have almost 100 AP, almost 300 attack. We have a decent HP pool. Our defense is really on the low side. Our talents for the defensive skills are really low. So this guy's going to be soaking up a lot of damage. Thankfully, my mummy is going to be healing this line pretty strong, so we should be okay with that. This character is probably going to be the first to go down. Just kind of the nature of the beast. This guy's going to be pretty glass cannon build. When I get a chance, I'll augment this a little bit more and get some more use out of that. I'm always finding things I miss augmenting. All right, so looking at our formation now, I'm going to go ahead and do the mummy next because we're going to want the most AP on him as possible, get the bang for a buck out of his heals. Let's find out what we want to do. So heals and energy restoration. So I have this nice necklace with a lot of energy regen, brings us up to 60 already. We have a lot of resist and defense there, so we're going to want to put this depth item on him there. Next, we're going to want to focus on getting as much regen, health, things like that. There's a lot of regen there. This is going to allow him to really spam his healing abilities. We got 77 regen. We've got high resist. We're going to want to desensitize that sniping that we're going to see the enemies doing on this hero if we have low resist. So let's go ahead and find more resist. I know I have some decent resist stuff. There we go. So you see that second ring popped up. That was just a little bit of that glitch again. Here's 7 regen. Look at that, 83 regen, almost 200 AP. High resist, low defense, but I think it's still higher defense. No, it is lowest defense. So he's probably going to get focused a little bit for defense. Don't really love that. I don't think I have the capacity to change that around very much at the moment. This is very, yeah, actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put that on my elementalist. And let's get a little bit more defense on this guy. That's attack. Do we have? Attack. Perfect. There we go. This is what I want. Okay, so defensive stats looking a lot better now. Let's go ahead and put power push on. He's not going to be a primary target anymore for defensive or AP attacks. So we're still going to have things focusing a bit on the cannoneer. Let's go ahead and put that energy regen. We're going to hop right over to our elementalist. Instantly up to 71 regen. We're going to have this elementalist casting a lot, I think. Let's see, a lot of HP, some defense. I like that. Scales well for resist, so we're going to have her high resist. Her defense is going to be very low. She actually might end up with primary target there. We're going to see how much AP we can stack on her as well as we're going through here. Seeing some nice attack gear. It's not helping me out. Some energy regen there. Her talent for energy regen is high by default. I do have her specialized into AP though. And there we go. We've got some defense, some energy regen, and some attack points. So we're at 125 for the runes. Lots of health, some regen. Resist, regen. Gosh, her defensive stats are going to be so low on her. I do have a lot of decent gear. I'm very happy with the gear that I have. However, when we're going through and doing things like this, you'll see how many gaps I still have to fill. I have a lot of gear that is subpar for doing the higher end raids, and I just kind of rely on going on manual and trying to take advantage of strategy as much as I can. So this character is going to be straight attack. I have some decent attack power on one of these things. There we go, 27. So we're going to want to get as much attack as we can on our Stu, the archer. He is going to be glass cannon as well. Attack power, 19 attacks and defense. The way that Stu's behavior works is really awesome. I'm going to divulge this to you guys. He will attack as often as he has energy, and he will always attack the enemy with the lowest HP. So he is really great for sniping off the enemies. See, we're at 62 defense. That's decent offhand. Some resist on there. Okay, so we've got some defensive stats that are pretty good off the bat. We have a lot of gloves to spare with this build. I'm only using 2 attack heroes, so I could have my choice here for what I want. I'm going to get more resist to bring that up closer to our defense. And energy regen. So he'll be attacking about every other turn with his main attack at 43, which is good. We'll have every other turn him attacking some low HP heroes with 264 attack. That's really decent. So who do we have left to gear up? I believe we're just missing the green gnome and the vampire were already set. So we're going to want as much AP as possible on the green gnome while trying to get their defense up a little bit too. Again, this is an attack debuff he has with his skills. Lower the enemy's attack. So really kind of utility, but at the same time trying to get as much AP out of him as possible. Not sure really what I have left for good AP gear, but we'll see what we can slap on him. Let's get this for decent defenses. And this guy for defenses. Not really seeing any offensive chests left at this moment. I'm also pretty short on rings, so get him what I can here. You'll see I'm out of rings now. Kind of sucks. Gonna have to farm some more. Let's see if we can find anything offhand that has some AP on there. Just gonna throw that on there. This has decent stats. Here we go. This has 5 AP. It's a little bit of something. It's got some defensive stats on it. I think that's going to be about the best we can do. Yeah. Not great. Maybe I'll do this instead. We see his resist is pretty high already. We're going to go ahead and do this guy on there, bring his defensive stats up a little bit. He's going to be used more for utility until I can afford to find another good ring to throw on him there. This has got some good defensive stats. That has less so. Those are augmented. I have to farm more. See, we're still going to get his AP pretty high up there. We've got 10 AP there, 12. No AP on those. Alright, so it looks like we're going to be going with one of these two. And this has a lot more defensive capabilities. Okay, so 150, not great. That's going to jump up to around 200 when I get better offhand runes. Ideally, because I have so many spare attack things, I would be putting an attack hero there. However, with this format, we have a very snipe-heavy backline already. I would actually put another archer there. When I get one up to 20, I do not. I have 0 archers at the moment, so I'm going to have to wait till I roll one, and then I'll put him in replace of that green gnome and have those 2 snipers there to finish off the enemy backline. So our formation power is looking really good at the moment. You saw I still have some augments left to go through there. Let's go ahead and see what it looks like here. We're going to go ahead and do a tower. I'm going to do this on auto. This is floor 126, so we get to see how these heroes perform in their roles. So you'll see that they're sniping the backline. We have a lot of snipers on the enemy team. We have our gnomes attacking the front line monks there. Okay, so we really have snipe heavy on our backline for the heals. We have some heals going up. Bring them back up. We're probably going to see both the elementalist and the mummy fall during this process. So we have our cannoneer picking off the archers on the front line. We're going to see our archer attack this turn probably. No, we have more gnomes going out. So we're doing some damage to the larger parties. We have those archers attacking our elementalist really hard. We should see a heal here from our monk onto the elementalist. There it is. We got to pick on the archer. We're going to lose the elementalist next turn. Not a huge deal. We, at this point, have taken out 4 of the enemies, and we're in good shape. So we'll be able to clear this up. by the time that you have your squishiest healers, or I'm sorry, your squishiest DPS actually fall to the enemies, we've gone so far at this point to protect them. Here we're going to see a bunch of DPS fall on their team, that we will have kind of killed enough time so that we have enough picks on the enemies to really have done some damage. On manual, I would be going through and taking out those 2 squads of monks uh, there, take them out of the way so that their turns aren't even going through. I just want to show you guys some auto for how the AI behavior is working for this squad, how they're working together. We're going to see an attack from the archer here on the back line, taking out 2 from that larger squad, so that was great. We're going to see it goes largely by the most energy that you have. So we're seeing the monk go through. Next time we'll see a heal from the mummy. At this point, we've taken out so much of their core DPS. We have just a lot of frontline monks left, and our frontline has a ton of HP. So our monk is really out healing the snipers that they have left, which is great. I thought we were going to lose that elementalist. At this point, I think we're pretty much free and clear. We're going to have elementalist attack. We're blowing up the left-hand party. I'm going to go ahead and do a manual battle after this one so you guys can see how this party performs on manual as well. It is very manual heavy because we have the frontline tanks. You really have to know what you're doing to get the most out of them as far as attack-wise. The backline performs better on auto because it is snipe heavy. Not that it can't perform well on manual as well. However, being able to pick your targets is really handy. This game is neat in that it's definitely a downside to using auto, which is important. It's not going to do the best thing always. You want to be able to have an advantage to using strategy, which is a lot of fun. But you can still tweak things in a way that when you're farming, you can kind of go into a battle and come out on top. You can tell that the energy is balanced pretty well when you don't have any characters sitting on 100% energy, on the 250 energy. Right now, as soon as people are getting close, they're using things. Taking a look at the front line is where we want to have the most energy and be sitting on the most energy. Because most of the time when you have the vampires or divine champions, which I know are the rare characters, but those could easily be swapped for green or yellow mummies. You could do all the way across the front line there. Even those, you want to be storing up energy for their harder hitting attacks. To kind of take a look at this from a B and C hero composition, I would do the green or yellow mummies up front. I would replace the elementalist with a shaman. The red and blue mummies are actually in a pretty good place at the moment where their behavior isn't using their primary attack, which is kind of not a great ability in general. It's kind of the main holdback of the healing mummy. The cannoneer you could replace easily with another archer. I would say this composition works well with, gosh, as many archers as you want. You start sniping the enemies down. You'll want to focus on their attack heavy enemies, and then you can just clean up and let your tanks absorb all the smaller hits. In this case on the auto, we're seeing just the monks left. They are only able to hit the front line. They're really doing almost no damage. They don't really have any preference, the monk behavior, for focusing on lower resist or anything. They just seem to randomly hit the front line. And we're going to see our auto wrap this up. Hey, how about that? Wow, can't really get better luck. That's the first time I've ever seen a purple chest drop on Tower of Heroes. I'm going to go ahead and turn the auto off here. We're going to want to focus on the smaller parties first. They have archers. We're going to want to knock those out. So let's see here how we're going to want to do this. We have, you can tell here as I'm rotating through that the red is going to be better for those. Okay, used the wrong hero off the bat. The red heroes are going to be the best for those archers in the front line to try to snipe them off. The elements do play a large role here in how we choose our attacks. Pick those archers off. I think I'm actually going to go through and get all the archers first, and then they will be forced to attack our front line entirely. So let's do this. We're actually going to attack again with our cannoneer and get that damage, and then finish them off with our archer. Man, that hits hard. That's great. Now, we're starting to see a little bit of damage throughout all of our heroes, so we're going to go ahead and do this. That's a very small heal from our attack-focused yellow champion, and it gives that important defense buff to our green champion, who then does just an excellent job of cleaning things up. We're going to get a vampire for the third move on the other archer. So we have this archer here on the back line. We have 3 archers over here. We're going to go ahead and do some sniping with these guys. So 462, you can see that elemental weakness really helped us out. Let's go ahead and use the elementalist to finish that off. The elementalist is going to be buffed a little bit at the next patch. Right now she's fairly weak because she has a low percentage on her attacks. So the AoE is decent. We'll drop that on there. Let's go ahead and next do cannoneer, and I clicked the wrong one. And we'll go ahead and finish those guys off with an attack. So now we just have that one archer on the main or the back line here in the center. Otherwise, we have characters that are mostly going to be hitting our front line. So we know we can hit that archer with our archer. Ping. There we go. Now we're going to have some female swordsmen occasionally attacking the middle line. We're in a super good spot. We can really just clean this up. We have 2 turns left on our party-wide heals. Let's go ahead and just focus on blasting out everybody. Coming into the next turn, we're going to have 1 turn left on those party-wide heals, as we have a lot of damage going through a lot of different heroes up front, and the front line is really in good shape. I'm actually going to use this second attack just to give our cannoneer the buff and watch him rain down a lot of damage over there. And we have these 2 heroes should die to that damage over time next time. We're coming into our heal turn on the front line, so we're going to want to spend 2 of our attacks doing that. There we go. Everyone's back into tip-top shape. Let's pick somebody off over here. When you're on manual, I really didn't do it this time because I wanted to focus on those archers. But you really want to go 1 group at a time, because each group has 3 attacks that I can do, 3 turns. Let's see. Taking out a group will eliminate one of those groups attacking you entirely. So it's really, really a great idea. You're going to reduce the amount of heat that you have coming in so much. We're just picking people off. I'm going to wrap this video up after this. If you have any comments or questions on the video, feel free to hit me up on Discord, or I probably actually won't respond on YouTube because I don't actually YouTube very often. I just wanted to show everybody kind of what it looks like at the end game to mess around with composition, to try to find the best ways to take advantage of your weaknesses. And I know take advantage of is kind of a weird way to put it, because I'm not really manipulating the AI or anything, but we do have to recognize how the AI behaviors work. Well, I managed to get a phone call in the middle of the recording. So we're almost done here. I just put it on auto during the phone call. I hope you guys get a good idea for formation strategy for the different types of attacks that you'll see and want to think about, as well as how you want to counter the enemy AI and composition. All right. Have a nice day. Hey folks, I wanted to do something a little bit different today.